I will not change. The whole process is completely ridiculous. I will not go through with it.
Hello?
Who's there?
I'm the doctor.
Oh, I don't think so, my boy. You may be a doctor, but I am the doctor. The original, you might say. And I have come back. Yes. Yes, I have come back.
Hello?
Who's there?
Sorry. So sorry, but... Are either of you two a doctor? You trying to be funny? That's my line!
How extraordinary, my boy.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, welcome, happy 2018. And to start off, we're going to be talking about something from 2017. Great start to the year, and today we are reviewing the Doctor Who 2017 Christmas special, Twice Upon a Time. So this one is also the 12th Doctor's final adventure, and he'll regenerate into our first female incarnation, Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor. So this is Peter Capaldi's swan song, and this time he's teamed up with David Bradley, who's taking William Hartnell's place as the first Doctor, because William Hartnell passed away in 1975. That's why Richard Tyndale took his place for the Five Doctors 8 years later. And then he was originally going to come back for the Two Doctors as well 2 years after that, but he passed away in 84, so which was the year in between, 83 and 85, so they got Patrick Troughton back in as the second Doctor, and what a fantastic final performance Patrick Troughton did in that story before his untimely death a year later. The 1980s were a bad time for actors passing away, weren't they? 70s and 80s and 90s, with 1996, just before the TV movie, John Pertwee, and last year, 2017, John Hurt. So hopefully David Bradley and the other Doctors can at least live on for a good couple of years longer. So Bradley's taking Hartnell's place as the first Doctor, and the first and 12th Doctors are both refusing to regenerate, which causes a time problem. And meanwhile, these glass people from the future are taking the testimony of dead people, but during gathering of the testimony of a captain from World War One, Yeepers 1914, he accidentally arrives in Antarctica in 1986 with the Two Doctors, and the glass people were trying to get him back so they could have his testimony and return him to his own point in time, and the Doctors aren't sure of their intentions as at this point yet. They don't know if it's an evil plan or not. And shortly afterwards, they bring back Bill Potts. One of the glass people is Bill, because they have all the memories of the people, of everybody. So the memories of Bill goes on to a glass person and teams up with the Doctor. However, the Doctors and the Captain and Bill escape because, again, they're still not sure of their glass people's intentions, and they run off in the first Doctor's TARDIS as the glass people have captured the 12ths. And they go to a planet that now has dead Daleks, Dalek mutants running around, and the 12th Doctor finds Rusty up in the tower, and he finds out about the glass people through the database, the Dalek database, as the Matrix isn't big enough, so he says, and nor is the TARDIS database. And so the Doctors have to return the Captain to his own place in time once they discover that that it was their fault that he was taken out of the time after his testimony being given. And the reason it was this particular character is revealed just before he goes back to die, and it's revealed he is a Lethbridge Stewart, and according to Mark Gatiss, he is the grandfather of Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart from the 60s and 70s and 80s, and also first appearing as Colonel Lethbridge Stewart in The Web of Fear 1968, and then being promoted to Brigadier later that year in The Invasion, and then becoming a regular in the John Pertwee era and a recurring character in other incarnations. In The Wedding of a Song, the 11th Doctor actually got told he passed away, and then a year later he met his daughter Kate, and now she's become a regular. Not regular, a recurring character in the 11th and 12th Doctor eras. And then when they do that, it's revealed that the captain and the German soldier who were about to kill each other. It was on Christmas Day, and then everyone put their weapons down because it's the armistice, the Christmas armistice. And the Doctor speaks, the 12th Doctor has a talk about it, and everyone survives, everyone lives. Everybody lives. Again, happy ending like the Doctor Dances and Forest of the Dead. And everybody lives. After seeing this, the first Doctor accepts his fate and goes off to regenerate into Patrick Troughton. And there's some nice uses of arc footage from the 10th Planet episodes 1 and 4. Maybe 2 and 3 as well, actually. So, 709 episodes ago. Is that referring to part 1 or to part 4? Because it was a 4-parter. So, I think they used clips from at least 3 of those episodes, maybe 4. And recreated scenes from others, I think. So, yeah, nice use of the footage from the 10th Planet, as well as recreating some of the sets and scenes like they do with An Adventure in Space and Time. And honestly, I think the regeneration is actually of the first into second Doctor is a little bit better here. Is it? No, not really. I think the animated versions are the best, to be honest, because with the original you can't really see who the first Doctor has regenerated into. And you're supposed to see who they've regenerated into, even if you don't know them. But, oh well. So, after that, the 12th Doctor then gets a final talk with Glass Woman as Bill, and then she becomes Clara and has a talk with him, and then goes back to being Bill. Clara haters, don't worry, she's on for less than a minute. You don't have to overreact like Matthew Moir did in his Universal's review on this episode. You don't have to overreact. And also Nardole comes along. Nardole's funny, so those who don't like Clara, it's alright, Nardole's here for longer. And then the 12th Doctor accepts his fate, has a big speech, final few words, regenerates, and so yeah, those effects aren't that great. I like the sparks, but I don't particularly like that regeneration effect. It's probably the weakest of the big glowy regeneration effects. But I did like the morph of the faces. I liked how the face just morphed into the regeneration. I just don't know why they couldn't have the Doctor couldn't have stood up. Maybe just do a 9th or 10th version, a Doctor version, not the silly version we got. Sparks could still have been there, and then the morph into the face, and then snap, and then we're out. And then that's why the TARDIS is exploding. Instead of some sparks, smoke, press a button, bang. How does pressing a button cause the TARDIS to explode? Plus, it's also the 3rd time something like this has happened. Chris Chibnall, you are so original. Oh yeah, Chris Chibnall wrote this last scene. He wrote the last scene while Stephen Moffat wrote the episode. But Chibnall wrote the first scene with the 13th Doctor. So, well done, Chibnall. You did a... So repetitive. I hope the 14th Doctor's introduction isn't the same way. I hope the 13th Doctor doesn't... her TARDIS, when she becomes the 14th Doctor, I hope the TARDIS doesn't crash or burn up or explode or something. I hope it just stays normal. Even the 10th Doctor, after the 9th Doctor regenerated into him, it started to lose control. As seen at the end of Born Again, the 2005 Children in Need special, and at the start of the Christmas Invasion. Although that's probably the least worst time, but... End of Time Part 2, they blew up the TARDIS console, and it started crashing down to Earth. But it was okay because they were rebuilding it again, and the same for here, except that we've also had the TARDIS crashing after the 11th Doctor's regeneration, and somehow it ended up in a T-Rex. So this is the 4th time the TARDIS has gone out of control and or explode, and the 2nd time it's exploded. The exploding I don't mind because we're getting a new TARDIS set at some point, but it's the 4th time we've had some kind of this post-regeneration affecting the TARDIS. The regeneration somehow affects the TARDIS. Okay, I think in the 10th Doctor's case, after he was regenerated from the 9th Doctor, he was just mucking around with the controls. But the other 3, that was the TARDIS's own accord. In fact, the Time the Doctor's one was a really poor edit. I should mention that. The Time the Doctor's final scene with Peter Capaldi was poorly done. Yeah, I'm glad we got more of 13 in this scene than we did of 12 at the end of the Time of the Doctor, and her scene was better done here than that one. I don't know what went wrong with that one, but yeah. So, yeah, episode. Performance-wise, I think Peter Capaldi is fantastic as the 12th Doctor, and Jodie Whittaker does a good first impression as the 13th. David Bradley, bless him, he tries. He really tries to be the first Doctor. And he looks like him, but he just can't capture the same mannerisms as William Hartnell. And Stephen Moffat, you wrote him too much like the 1960s person. Too sexist, too racist, too ahead of it. Of his time, considering that the first Doctor was rarely like that, and he was an alien from the planet Gallifrey, and the first Doctor was just a nice person. He could have been a grumpy old git at some point, particularly earlier on in his life, but he was mellowing towards the end of his life, and he was a great person anyway. He was a nice grandfatherly figure, or an old wise man who's very scientifically knowledged. And you turn him into pretty much a... Okay, I can understand why he was running around after the 12th Doctor, working out, asking what's wrong. But other cases, he's either there for comedy, or he's being sexist, or of his times. I can understand that he might have some of those ideologies, as he's from the 60s. Not originally, but he was there for a while. But not as part of his character. At least not a big part. Maybe a small part. Like, occasionally he might let slip something. But not or every other chance he gets. In fact, there's a reference to a smack bottom that is a reference to Dalek Invasion of Earth. But that just felt a bit unnecessary, even if Bill and the Doctor did laugh about it, the 12th Doctor. And concerning what Bill said, it honestly could have been worse, First Doctor. So, yeah, you should hear what some of the things Clara said. or any of the characters in Torchwood. Or Class. More Torchwood. But I do think Bradley did try, and I think Big Finish will probably do a better job of him. I haven't heard any Big Finish besides the muted phase. So I think with their First Doctor, David Bradley stories, they are going to do a better job at writing the character than Moffat does. So, and Mark Gatiss is good as the captain. He doesn't get an awful much to do, but he's a great character, and he is Mark Gatiss does another great performance. This is his 4th Doctor Who appearance. He was originally Professor Lazarus in the Lazarus Experiment. Danny Boy in Victory of the Daleks, which he also wrote, and Gantok in The Wedding River Song, and he also played the 3rd Doctor in a scene in a 2nd Doctor regeneration reconstructions remake scene. Recreation, that's it. A recreation scene of the 2nd Doctor's regeneration into the 3rd Doctor for Adventure in Space and Time, which he also wrote, and he played the 3rd Doctor at the end of the scene with Reese Smith taking the 2nd Doctor's place. And also Patrick Troughton in the actual docudrama alongside David Bradley as William Hartnell / the First Doctor. And yeah, he was probably better as the First Doctor in Adventure in Space and Time than he was in Twice Upon a Time. So, but props to Bradley for giving trying to give a good performance. Glass people were okay, wasn't particularly worried about them. And Rusty's back. I was happy, but I don't think it's going to be as big as a Easter egg for most people. At least not anyone who's gone beyond the First Doctor, the 12th Doctor's era. If they've not seen anything of the 12th Doctor's era prior to this, then they're going to be confused. Same with the regeneration, to be honest. Reason for regenerating after being shot by the Sidemen and then blown up. Youch. But I will say that... Oh, and Toby Whithouse was good as the German soldier. That was good. No, he was good. It looks... The fifth episode looks good. It has some really nice bits. The sets from 10th Planet, again, they look really good. Like with Adventure in Space and Time, recreating the old sets, they look really great. And the Antarctica's location and the... pretty much all the locations look really good. They look really nice. I think the weakest is probably the Dalek planet. It's not Skara. It's a planet where all the Daleks have been trying to kill Rusty. Have been attacked, countermounted, not countermounted, counterattacked. It's the planet where Rusty is. It's probably my least favourite, but that's probably supposed to be that way. So, and the vortex, the time vortex, the First Doctor's TARDIS travels through. Is that supposed to look that way? Is it because the Doctors have kind of stopped time and the glass people have later stopped time as well? Is it supposed to look like ice? Is it supposed to look chunked? I think I would have preferred it if the TARDISes were travelling through either the First Doctor's vortex, which is just the titles again, but to be honest, after we don't really see the TARDIS flying through the vortex until we get to the movie After an Unearthly Child. It's really in the new series we see the TARDIS fly through the vortex quite a bit. So I think I would have preferred something like the original vortex, or we would have stuck with the 12th Doctor's one, which again we don't really see that much of. Actually, it's most of the time vortex journeys are in the 10th Doctor's era and the 9th and 10th Doctor's era, but sometimes you get them in the 11th and 12th. And I think it would have been better if we'd gone into either the original or the 12th Doctor's ones instead of what we got. But it's still a pretty good episode. It's got quite a few flaws. The First Doctor is is pretty weakly written and characterised, even though Bradley does a good performance. And I think the story is actually a bit too short. I think without the Doctor talking to Clara and Nardal, and also Bill at the end, and without his speech being... that last scene with him having the speech, and then the first scene with the 13th Doctor, with the regeneration in between, that scene's about 5 to 6 minutes in total, without the credits. So at least half of that is the 12th Doctor's big goodbye speech. I think if this was going to only be 40... I think if they had reduced that and also reduced the talking with Bill, Nardal and Clara, I think the episode would have been more 50 to 55 minutes. So I think this is a case of a needs more time... Not a needs more time syndrome. Has too much time. It needs less time. This story was pretty much filling the time it had left. Or they had removed some more story-based elements to include these bits. But to be honest, I think the story's a pretty much solid standalone adventure, possibly following up from, actually more of a follow-up to the series 10 finale, but also a pretty much standalone episode on as well. So it doesn't really tie in with the series arc, whatever series 10 was. Oh yeah, the Vault. The Vault, and is missing a good person now. But it's pretty much a standalone one on its own. aside from also the fact that it's following up from the series 10 finale, as well as bridging a gap between the end of the 10th planet. We didn't see where the Doctor went. Where the Doctor went. He could have done this and then popped back to get Ben and Polly and then regenerated, as we saw. So sort of kind of fills in a gap between two scenes, I think it is. It's the scene where Ben and Polly rush after him, and then just before they get to the TARDIS and get him to open up. So the adventure pretty much takes place there. And now with this, and with Power of the Daleks last year, and also World Enough in Time the Doctor Falls, bring back the Mondasian Cybermen, I think now a lot more people are going to check out the 10th planet. Thanks to this and the Mondasian Cybermen. And last year they brought out Power of the Daleks so they can watch so if they've watched this and World Enough in Time Doctor Falls, then they'll go watch 10th Planet, and then they move on to Power of the Daleks, which they now can see thanks to last year. So, yeah, it's a pretty good system. 10th Planet, or alternatively 10th Planet, Twice Upon a Time, Power of the Daleks. But proper one would probably be World Enough in Time Doctor Falls, Twice Upon a Time, go back to 10th Planet, see how that happened, and maybe rewatch Twice Upon a Time if you wish, and then either way, and then go straight into Power. So it's pretty much worked out for all these episodes. Lots of people have a lot of episodes to watch, if they haven't already. So that's it from Twice Upon a Time. Is it? I think it's just that my main problems are the First Doctor's characterisation, and that I think it's just filling time at the end. And the 13th Doctor's first scene is very repetitive, previous ones, and it's not long enough. Another problem with all those time-filling gaps, and not enough time with the 13th Doctor. We only get a minute or so. It's more than the 12th Doctor's in time of the Doctor. I don't like the editing of the regeneration. I don't mind the snap regeneration of 11 into 12 without bang, just a snap. But I don't like the way it was edited. Or at least not the 11th Doctor's going backwards and then as the regeneration starts. I think it should have stayed in the 11th Doctor. Snap regeneration into 12th Doctor should have been in one shot, not two. And so I don't like the way that was shot and edited. But I thought the snap regeneration was alright. Going back to this one, effects were worse, but the actual regeneration was better. Worst regeneration is still, well, at least regeneration effects is still the 1987 Time and the Rani ones from 6 to 7. Ouch. The official cause of the regeneration has been explained by Big Finish. With the 6th Doctor adventure, they've given us a new reason for his regeneration, as opposed to hitting his head on the floor / console / exercise bike. Yay. So, that's good. And the actual regeneration in audio, probably, I have heard the clip, actually sounds better than what the actual regeneration on screen. So, yeah, so it would have been a bit better if we'd seen it there. Hi guys, Nick here. A little bit later on from doing the review, I think I just forgot to tell you my score for Twice Upon a Time. If I didn't, I'll edit this out then. I won't include this in then. So, but if I did forget, then I'm saying it now, and I'm hand holding the camera. That's why it looks a bit weird. It's probably better if I do this instead of using the left hand in the strap, so even though this is more likely to be dropped. Okay, and I apologise for the angle because I have no idea what I'm doing. Even if I did my screen, it's still upside down. This is not a camera where I can see what I'm doing. So, my final score is on Twice Upon a Time is 8 out of 10. I was considering a 7, but I only have minor complaints. And the usual, I say usual, the ones everybody has. Sorry, my arm was hurting. The same opinions on the First Doctor, characterisation in this, and some other minor complaints. it's not really too much of a worry. I did, like I said, I did consider a 7. I did consider it being lower. I did put an 8 down on my Universal's video for the first reaction, and whilst the second first viewing reaction, and whilst the second viewing viewing didn't do anything to lower my opinions, not at least not more than just thinking about it generally. I think thinking about it, it just felt maybe a 7 worked, but I'm going to stick with my guns and say 8. But it was close to being a 7, and it's not a strong one. I think it be, if it was on the Series 10 ranking, which it will be closer to the bottom than the top. Certainly middle to bottom section. I should say bottom to middle. So yeah, don't hate me. A lot of people have their opinions, and it's not brilliant after all. Maybe a 7 should be the choice, but I'm going with 8. So yeah, so back to me rounding off this review, and see you next time. So yeah, that's Twice Upon a Time. I will do a review of Sharda as well sometime later this month / early February. So after I've rewatched it a couple, 2 or 3 times, well, not 2 or 3, 2 times at least, of the new version with the animation, as well as also I might drop some opinions on the original 1992 VHS version. But yeah, and I will be doing a Christmas special ranking at some point. I know it's January, but it's a bit too late. I honestly was going to do this last year, and then I decided it was a bit late, and decided I'd do it after this one, because it's the last one with the 12th Doctor. However, it's time to do another. It's time to do it soon, so soon after this review goes out, so hopefully. I'll do that, as well as the Series 10 ranking after I've rewatched this story for a 3rd time on Blu-ray, and I'm going through Series 10 at the moment. At time of recording, it says Thursday the 4th of December. Yesterday was Wednesday the 3rd. I rewatched this story then, as well as the first 2. Sorry, Return of Doctor Mysterio and The Pilot. So in a few minutes I should be going down to watch episodes 2 to 4. Smile, Knock, Thin Ice and Knock Knock. So I'll be doing a Series 10 ranking, as well as a Steelbook Blu-ray for Series 10 and Sharda, as well as also maybe DVD, Blu-ray review for Twice Upon a Time and DVD review for Sharda, because I've also got Sharda on DVD and Blu-ray. I say Sharda on DVD, the new DVD, and the old one, the 2013 and 17 ones, for completionist's sake. So, that'll be it for now, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. I feel like I'm going to burp. With the Antarctic, with the other 2 Doctors. And what else does it? And then after that's the 12th Doc, the first Doc, and then after that the first Doc. No. So after showing this, the first Doc to accept, Matthew Moore did in here. Moir, sorry, not Matthew Moore. Are you trying to be funny? Are you trying to be funny? You trying to be funny? You trying to be funny? Hello? Sorry. So sorry, but... Are either of you two a doctor? Do that again, just in case. Hello? Hello? Sorry. So sorry, but... Are either of you two a doctor? More time?